The quiet rhythm of Alara Vance's life, a 42-year-old writer adrift in the hushed outskirts of Asheville, North Carolina, had become a muted melody of solitude since her amicable divorce from Julian 3 years prior. Her days unfolded within the familiar embrace of her cottage, a sanctuary and a cage, where words were her trade and her ginger tabby, Jasper, her most frequent confidant. The digital glow of her laptop screen was her primary view, punctuated by the lukewarm comfort of endless tea. Then came a tempestuous October evening, the sky weeping a relentless curtain of rain. Hunger gnawed at Alara, a counterpoint to the emptiness within. Scrolling through digital menus, her gaze settled upon the siren call of lasagna bolognese from a nearby trattoria, Bella Luna. With a click, the order was placed, and she retreated beneath a hand-knitted throw, the storm's lament echoing her own quiet melancholy. A half-hour later, the chime of the doorbell sliced through the storm's symphony. On her porch stood a young man, drenched to the bone, yet his smile held a spark of unexpected warmth. He couldn't have been a day over 18, his thin jacket plastered to his frame, a steaming foil container cradled in his hand. "Delivery for Alara?" he inquired, pushing sodden brown hair from his brow. "Yes, that's me," she replied, accepting the offered warmth. She was struck by his evident chill. "You must be absolutely frozen." A light laugh escaped him, a bright note in the dreary evening. "Comes with the territory. You learn to live with it." Alara pressed a few bills into his hand, but he demurred with a gentle shake of his head. "It's all right, ma'am. Stay warm and enjoy your meal." There was an earnestness in his tone that resonated, a flicker of something beyond mere politeness. As she watched him disappear back into the rain-swept street towards his bicycle, a subtle stirring resonated within her chest, a faint echo in the silence. She dismissed it and retreated into the comforting aroma of her dinner. The following week, another twilight descended, painting the sky in hues of bruised purple and charcoal gray. A familiar craving stirred within Alara, a yearning for the rich layers of pasta, and perhaps a subconscious wish for another glimpse of the young delivery driver. She placed the order, and as if summoned by her thoughts, 30 minutes later, he stood once more at her door. "Back for more?" he asked, a playful grin illuminating his face as he shrugged off his damp jacket. "Perhaps I'm developing a Bella Luna addiction," Alara quipped. He chuckled, handing over the fragrant package. "Their lasagna is legendary. I wouldn't blame you." This time, Alara offered him a steaming mug. "You look like you could use something to chase away the chill." He hesitated for a moment before accepting with a grateful nod. "That would be lovely, thank you." He stood just inside the doorway as she brewed a fragrant Earl Grey. Their conversation was a gentle murmur against the backdrop of the rain, small talk about the relentless weather, the bustling restaurant, the demands of his evening. His name, she learned, was Finian O'Connell. Barely 18, he navigated delivery routes to fuel his aspirations of attending the local art college. He lived with his grandmother, a woman he spoke of with deep affection, and his quiet determination shone through his youthful demeanor. Over the subsequent weeks, Alara's Bella Luna cravings became a recurring motif in her quiet life. Finian seemed to be a frequent messenger to her corner of the neighborhood, and their brief exchanges blossomed into more lingering conversations. Sometimes he would perch on her porch steps, cradling a warm drink or simply catching his breath between deliveries. One particularly bitter night, Alara noticed a weariness etched on his young face. "Everything all right, Finian?" she asked, offering him a steaming mug of herbal tea. He sighed, a puff of visible breath in the cold air. "My bike threw a chain halfway through my shift. Been walking most of the way." "Oh, that's dreadful," Alara exclaimed. "Come in, at least. Sit by the fire and warm up for a while." He hesitated, his eyes flickering with a mixture of shyness and gratitude, before stepping into the warm glow of her cottage. Alara gestured towards the worn armchair by the hearth. That night, their conversation unfurled like a long, forgotten scroll. He spoke of his passion for charcoal sketches, his grandmother's unwavering support, and the quiet solace he found in the surrounding mountains. Elara, in turn, shared fragments of her own story: the youthful dreams of becoming a celebrated novelist, the detour into the more pragmatic world of editing, the echoing silence that had filled her home since Julian's departure. It was the first time in what felt like an eternity that Elara felt truly heard, truly seen. After that evening, Finian's visits became less about deliveries and more about connection. Sometimes he arrived with a small posy of wildflowers he'd gathered, other times simply with a story or a shared silence. He'd offer a hand with stubborn jars, or help her navigate the labyrinthine instructions of flat-pack furniture. There was an inherent sweetness to his presence, a gentle kindness that asked for nothing in return. Initially, a flicker of self-consciousness would surface, a woman in her 40s forging a bond with a teenager, but the purity of their connection dispelled any unease. He wasn't just a delivery boy, he had become a nascent friend, a quiet dawn breaking through the long night of her solitude. One sun-drenched Saturday, Elara wrestled with the chaotic diagrams of a new bookcase. Finian appeared at her door, returning a volume of poetry she had lent him. "Lost in the IKEA wilderness?" he asked with a knowing smile. They spent the afternoon amidst scattered particle board and Allen wrenches, the air filled with laughter and the comforting aroma of takeout pizza. Later, sprawled on the rug amidst the debris, they spoke of dreams spun from moonlight and memories etched in childhood summers. Elara hadn't felt such unburdened joy in years. As the seasons turned, Elara found herself anticipating Finian's visits with a quiet eagerness. Her days seemed infused with a subtle vibrancy. The long-dormant urge to write resurfaced, not for deadlines or clients, but for the sheer pleasure of crafting words, filling the blank pages with observations and nascent stories. It was as if his presence had gently coaxed a forgotten part of her back to life. One twilight, as they sat on her porch, watching the fireflies dance in the deepening dusk, Finian turned to her, his gaze earnest. "You know, Elara," he said softly, "this place, you've become a kind of sanctuary for me." His words resonated deeply, catching her off guard. "What do you mean, Finian?" He looked out at the twilit garden, a thoughtful expression on his face. "I don't really have anyone I can just be myself with. Here, I don't have to be the responsible one all the time. I can just be Finian." A warmth spread through Elara's chest, and a gentle moisture touched her eyes. "You've given me more than you know too, Finian." A comfortable silence settled between them, a tapestry woven with unspoken understanding and mutual respect. Their bond defied easy categorization, not romantic, not familial, but a unique constellation of trust, empathy, and quiet grace. It was a poignant reminder that connection can bloom in the most unexpected soil, carried on the wings of a rainy evening and a foil container of lasagna. Eventually, Finian's talent was recognized with a generous scholarship to the very art college he had dreamed of attending. His joy was infectious, and Elara felt a surge of pride, as if he were her own. They celebrated with takeout and a shared slice of blueberry pie, and he promised that his visits, though perhaps less frequent, would continue. True to his word, he remained a gentle presence in her life. Looking back, Elara recognized the profound healing that chapter had brought. Finian had reminded her of the delicate beauty of everyday moments, the solace of connection, the lightness of laughter, and the enduring power of hope. He hadn't arrived in a blaze of glory, but rather with a humble delivery on a rain-swept night, slowly painting color back into her monochrome world. He hadn't just delivered food, he had delivered light, and the earnest kindness of an 18-year-old artist had irrevocably touched the landscape of her heart.